I had seen Betty a couple times throughout the night. I was sitting at my table, and she was on the other side of the room. She would sort of peer around someone, squint, and then walk away. She would maybe come into the room and glance at me again, and then walk away. And I was used to that. See, I'm a typewriter poet, and I take this typewriter, a 1946 Smith Corona, and I set it up at tables, at events, business networking lunches, weddings, all kinds of places, and people bring me words, or they bring me stories, and I give them a poem. It took me a long time to figure out that that was my gift to give back to the world, and I've been doing it now for 4 years. And I didn't realize that Betty was about to come up and do that with me as well. Eventually, she did come across the room, and she stood there shaking in front of me, and she said, "All right, I wasn't sure if I was going to come over. I'm getting ready to leave my job next week. I've been at my job for about 10 years, but I have a dream. I want to open a graphic design studio, and I finally decided to take the plunge. But I'm scared. I don't know if it's going to work out. I'm worried that I'm going to lose all my savings, and basically I feel like I'm jumping off a cliff." And that's where she stopped. And I looked up at her, and I thought, that's your metaphor for starting your new job? Going out on your own, you feel like you're jumping off a cliff. And in my head, my creative juices started going, and I thought, I've got something. So I went over, I type on my typewriter, and I typed her this poem. It's called Tomorrow. Tomorrow is not asking for you to be someone you are not. Tomorrow is asking for you to become who you are next. When the sun comes up, the horizon will break into orange arms outstretched, and they will lift you up or let you go. Your choice. The jump off the cliff can be a dive into the future, and falling becomes flying when you say yes to the light, exploding like an invitation everywhere around you. And when I looked up from that poem, there were tears coming down her face. And she walked around the table, and she gave me a big hug. She said, "Thank you." And then she took the poem and walked off, I presumed, to start her business. Now, I've been lucky enough to have hundreds, if not thousands, of these moments in the years that I've been doing typewriter poetry and giving my gift to the world. And so as I watched Betty walk off, I wished that I had more time to tell her a few of the things that I've learned. It's not easy to give your gift to the world, but there are 3 unconventional strategies that I don't see on blog posts and I don't hear people talking about on podcasts that I wanted to share. Number 1, do it anyway. People who are giving their gift to the world haven't figured out some magical strategy for waking up without fear. They haven't figured out some magical strategy for being more confident than you or me. People giving away their gift have figured out that when you're scared, when you're worried, when you're unprepared, you do it anyway, and you make it work. Number 2, the language of transformation. Now, I'm a poet, so this is my favorite one, but it's very easy to use the language of fear, the language of loss, the language of I'm jumping off a cliff. But it's a powerful, powerful choice to use the language of transformation, making anything that could be a stumbling block or a cliff into a way to fly or a way to grow. Number 3 is about valuing your values. I hear a lot of talk about, let's do a rebranding. Let's refresh the branding. Let's rewrite our mission statement. I'm not a big fan of those things. Those are surface. Trusting the values that made you start doing something in the first place, whether it's your gift is artistic or it's a business, those are the things that you need to keep rediscovering. They don't go anywhere. It's us that sort of wander away from them and forget. So as long as we're refreshing those values, that's powerful. And those are the 3 things. Doing it anyway, the language of transformation, and valuing your values. I got an email from Betty about a year later, and she said, "Scott, I took your poem, and I framed it, and I put it on my desk. I look at it every morning. My business is thriving, and I just wanted to say a quick thank you. I appreciate that you were there right when I started out. Hopefully I can hire you someday." So I ask you, what are you going to do today to start giving your gift to the world. Thank you very much.